The Immortal Crane is a story from the Dresden region. It is based on the folklore and legends of the Dresden region, with themes of magical elements, respect for nature, bravery and wisdom. Once upon a time, in the vast forests of the Dresden region, there was a pond that the villagers appreciated. The pond was very calm and beautiful, with colorful flowers blooming in spring and a refreshing breeze blowing in summer. However, a legend was passed down among the villagers. It is a story about the immortal crane that lives in the pond. The immortal crane was said to have lived by the pond for a long time, its wings shining like silver, and its footsteps echoing like music. No one had ever seen the crane, they simply believed in its existence. In the village it was said that, whoever sees the immortal crane will receive eternal life, and the villagers dreamed of meeting the crane. One day, a young man named Andreas arrived in the village. He was a traveler from the city, who had heard the legend and visited the village to see this crane. The village elders advised Andreas. Be careful, you can see the crane, but if your heart is not pure, you cannot have eternal life. Andreas was a little skeptical about the story, but he made a decision and headed for the pond. After walking a long distance, I finally reached the edge of the pond, where there was a calm water surface and the surrounding trees swayed in the breeze. After waiting for a while, something like a light suddenly appeared in the center of the pond. It was like a crane of dreams, its feathers shone silver, and it walked gracefully on the surface of the pond, gracefully bending its long neck. Andreas' heart was filled with wonder and joy, and he was fascinated by her beauty. When the crane saw Andreas, it slowly approached him. It's the immortal crane you wanted to see. The crane's voice sounded like the wind. You? Is it really an immortal crane? Andreas asked, his voice trembling. Yes, Tsuru replied quietly. I am the guardian deity of this pond and I have eternal life. But those who can obtain that life must meet only one condition. Andreas was surprised by those words. Condition? Crane closed his eyes and said quietly. The condition is to have a pure heart and put the happiness of others first. If you have that heart, I will give you eternal life. Andreas remembered how much he had lived thinking about others. However, it hurts my heart to think about how much I prioritized my own interests in busy city life. I may have lived my life on my own. Andreas said quietly. But now I really want to wish others happiness. Hearing that, Tsuru nodded slowly. Your heart can still grow, but you need deeper learning and sincere action to gain eternal life. Andreas was deeply moved by those words. He reflected on his past and decided to live for others. I accept now your teachings, grant eternal life. Andreas said sincerely. Then the crane fluttered gracefully and soared into the sky. And the figure of the crane that rose high in the sky gradually turned into a bright light and disappeared as it shone like a star. Andreas contemplated the scene and engraved it deep in his heart. From that day on, Andreas returned to the village, helped each other with the villagers, and lived with a sincere heart. By taking care of others and living with a pure heart, happiness spread among the townspeople, and the people became richer and richer. And when Andreas had his last time, he smiled and said, I've lived long enough, and the life I've been given has been wonderful. Later, his name became a legend in the town. The villagers never forgot the importance of having a pure heart and thinking about the happiness of others, as the crane taught them, and they lived happily for a long time. The end.